Shark Tank was a great experience. Just the opportunity to talk about mental health on national TV in a country like India was like we were thrilled to have that.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Beyond Bain Spotlight Series, where we're talking with Bainies from across the globe about their journeys beyond Bain. I'm Jen Andrasco, Global Head of Alumni at Bain & Company, and it's my pleasure to introduce Bain alumna Mahak Maheshwari. Mahak is the co-founder of the mental health platform SoulUp. SoulUp is a Bengaluru-based startup that brings people together via virtual peer-to-peer conversations and support groups to generate conversations on various emotionally challenging topics. Prior to founding SoulUp, Mahak was an AC in our Mumbai office. She then went on to found multiple ventures, including We Desi and Proactive for Her, both of which we'll have an opportunity to hear about in our conversation. Mahak, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm delighted to talk with you about your time at Bain and beyond, and all of your journeys, including SoulUp. So if it's okay, we can jump right in and get started with a little bit of background. Mahak, maybe you could tell me a little bit, just starting off with your Bain experience. How did you journey to Bain, and where did you start and where did you leave from?
So I joined Bain right after my undergrad. I studied engineering at IIT Bombay, and immediately after that joined Bain as associate consultant. And in terms of journey behind Bain, I was, while I was studying engineering, explored a couple of things and was figuring what do I want to do in terms of career. So through my internships at P&G, Crompton Greaves, wasn't very keen to continue in the core engineering roles. But one of the things that happened was I was closely involved at entrepreneurship cell on campus. And like that was an opportunity to meet a lot of founders firsthand, understand their perspectives and like how they're building things 0 to 1. And that sort of resonated with me a lot, and decided someday I'd want to start up on my own. And so was looking at roles which were more on business side of things, and strategy consulting seemed like a great option. So after that, it was majorly pursued Bain because of the people, majorly like the interactions I had with during the orientation, during the social mixers, recruitment seemed like a great place to work, and very grateful that got the opportunity to be at Bain.
Bain being a great place to work is something we hear from pretty much all of our alumni, and of course our employees as well. And being a great place to work is something that we're incredibly proud of, as you know, Mahak. Before we dive into all of the great things that you're doing with SoulUp now, I love to ask the question, do you have a favorite Bain memory, something that really stands out from your time at Bain?
One of the things that I fondly remember are all the good times we had, like whether it was different kind of parties, Friday beers, like offsites with my batch, offsites with the team. ACT was a hell lot of fun. So like fondly remember all those times.
That's great. Yeah, we know how to take care of our people and build culture and community, that's for sure. It seems like, Mahak, you are a serial entrepreneur now, right? You departed Bain in 2017 with an interest in creating your own venture. And I know you've now started several companies. We're going to dive into those, but are there things about your Bain experience that you think really prepared you well to venture into this entrepreneurial environment? And, you know, are there things that you think were uniquely well positioned to support individuals that want to become entrepreneurs in doing?
Outside the core business learnings and the hard skills, Jen, what really helped was how Bain shaped my mindset. Being extremely data oriented, giving due importance to presentation, or like how Bain teams were structured, like a super efficient 5 or 6 people team doing a lot of heavy lifting in terms of strategy as well as execution. The way my mindset was shaped really helped in the journey after.
Mm. Did you always envision yourself as an entrepreneur, Mahak? I know you said you went for engineering. Was it always your idea that you would go and become a founder?
I mean, I think so. At least as early as 19 or 20 years of age, like I was mentioning, that once I understood what the difference between a startup or a regular business is, or the kind of disproportionate impact a startup can create, uh, like wanted to be an entrepreneur and build things 0 to 1, things, problems that haven't been solved before.
I have the great fortune of speaking with a number of Bain founders, and through this series, we've interviewed a lot of entrepreneurs. And if there's anything we know to be true, is that it is a circuitous and winding road to success in the startup arena. I know that you, before you started SoulUp, could you tell us more about those ventures and how they contributed to where you are now with SoulUp?
Started BDC immediately after I quit Bain. It was a direct to consumer snack brand, and the thesis was that there are a lot of age old traditional Indian recipes that are forgotten, and the market is moving towards healthier snacking. So, if we could repurpose those old recipes in contemporary format that appeals to younger generation, uh, and that was the ethos behind the brand. Scaled it well. We were at $10,000 per month of revenue in a few months' time. But in the year's journey, I also realized that while it was good business, I don't want to do this for next 10 years of my life. I want to do something that's more impact oriented as well as technology enabled. So winded down that business and went back to the drawing board. That was when I was looking at ideas only in the space of education and healthcare, and again, majorly because of the impact reason. Zeroed down on women's health, and the idea behind Proactive for her was that, at least in India, traditional healthcare providers are majorly focused on fertility and maternity because that's where the market size and the ticket size is. But there's a white space when it comes to some of the other concerns, especially sexual health as well as chronic conditions. So things such as birth control, STD testing, or chronic conditions like PCOS, vaginismus, endometriosis. Uh, there's a big white space where traditional healthcare providers are not catering to the users. Also, we were a team of women in our 20s. So we thought we are well positioned to solve for this market. We understood our users, we understood what they value, what they're looking for, and hence took that leap to start building Proactive for her. It was a great journey. This time I was building in the space I really cared about, the users and the problem uh, I really cared about. One thing that was clear to me after my Proactive experience was that I want to continue building in healthcare, and I was very excited about solving for healthcare through community. So there were a couple of different kinds of products we tried at Proactive, and one insight that stuck with me was that like the future of health tech is going to be going to be through community, and if we can build something around that, it will be great. And that was like the starting point, and then finally, like it was a journey where we started building SoulUp.
Oh. Well, I'm really excited to dive into SoulUp because I think what you're building there through community is really interesting and fascinating. And we know a little bit about building community here within the global alumni community at Bain, because it is exactly how we spend our time every day, right? Thinking about connecting individuals around shared interests and purpose and building community through the Bain network. And on that point, I should just say, Mahak, I had an opportunity recently to talk with Bain alumna Amy Fan, who founded a women's healthcare company called 28 Health, which is a Toronto-based startup that's focused on creating more affordable and equitable access to health care for women. And so if you don't know Amy, I would encourage you to connect with her, because I think there's lots of shared knowledge and shared experience that the two of you could have with one another. So in 2022, you founded SoulUp. Can you share a bit more with our audience about what SoulUp is and the offerings in its current state?
SoulUp is taking a very unique approach to mental health. We're building peer-to-peer conversations. And what it essentially means is that if you're going through an emotional challenge, you'll be able to log on to the network, discover somebody else who has first-hand experience of similar thing, and schedule a conversation with them. Right now, we have two formats. So there's one-on-one peer conversations where you can browse through different peer profiles. And if you find somebody relevant, schedule a conversation with them. It's a 45-minute long video call. The second format is the group format, which is quite similar to how support groups work, where it's a group of 6 to 8 people led by a therapist. The group meets on a weekly frequency. And there's a topic which is the shared context amongst the group members. Also, one thing I'd like to mention here, Jen, is that SoulUp conversations are across categories. So from something like diagnosed mental health conditions to more everyday things like relationships, parenting, even chronic health conditions. Like if your mental health is being impacted by a health condition, you can connect with peers who have similar diagnosis. And life decisions, like you mentioned, things like do you want to have kids or not. So like the idea really is that mental health is not always black and white. Anything that impacts you emotionally is pretty much mental health. And the goal is to have all those categories, all those peers and groups at SoulUp and be pretty much across the spectrum.
And here at Bain, normalizing conversations about mental health is well underway, but I know that it can be difficult, and certainly difficult across cultural boundaries. Did that contribute at all to the creation of SoulUp, and how do you help to destigmatize some of the stigmas that go around open conversations around mental health?
100%. And one of the reasons and thought process behind creating SoulUp or building on peer-to-peer was the trend that we have observed, Jen, in last decade or so, where despite there being stigma, we've seen a lot more people sharing about their mental health journeys, owning their journeys and sharing their challenges. Like if you look at LinkedIn, there's so many people who are doing that today. So that was also the foundation in terms of building peer-to-peer, where increasingly more people think that they want to share about their journeys to break the stigma, and also to be there for somebody else, when because they wish that they had a peer like that when they were going through the challenge. Also, in terms of purely in terms of business perspective, we've deeply thought about how to build mental health in a scalable way, because not a lot of companies have been able to scale in the space yet. And if we look at the current landscape, there are two kinds of business models. There's therapy-led model and then there's content-led model. So therapy-led model is quite impactful, like individual therapy is very effective. But there's limitations in terms of scalability because of cost and stigma barrier. And if we look at the content-led models, which is tools, trackers, chatbots, uh, it is quite scalable. But if you're already stressed about something, then going through self-help content can be further isolating for a user. So, like looking at efficacy as well as scalability, we truly believe that peer-to-peer can be the future of mental health. Like the future of mental health needs to be more human and not less, but also in a scalable way.
I think in particular, as you launch in India too, this notion of scalability and reaching such a wide audience. I'm interested to know the role of tech here, actually, right? And how tech allows you then to really scale and create peer-to-peer. How do you think about the role of tech and actually the evolution of tech? I know you said it's video conversations today, and maybe I'm getting ahead of us in the conversation, but like, how does that evolve as tech evolves? And what do you see sort of as even maybe that next evolution of SoulUp?
Yeah. So, like a very good question, Jen. The current format of SoulUp, it is like it is quite basic because we are also in our initial stages. But how we envision the future is that SoulUp will be built on matching algorithms. So as we collect more information on users, peers, how are users selecting a certain peer, we are already developing matching algorithms to like, so, you can, it will almost be like a text field where you come in and write about yourself and what you want to talk about. And the system, the algorithm throws four peers who are a good match for you. So that is definitely the future of SoulUp.
Well, I'm excited to see the continued journey. And on that point, I know that you and your co-founder, Punita, recently took on Shark Tank India, where you pitched SoulUp and you walked away with an investment. Can you tell us a bit about that? And not only your experience on the show, but how that's now contributing to the future of SoulUp?
Shark Tank was a great experience. Just the opportunity to talk about mental health on national TV in a country like India was like we were thrilled to have that. And during the process of like multiple rounds and finally reaching the tank, it helped us iterate our offering, iterate our pitch to understand what would appeal to a larger audience, a massy audience, and finally getting the offers from all five sharks, having uh, having the crazy traffic and the bookings on the website was a lot of validation because what we're building is unprecedented. Like there isn't a peer-to-peer network globally. So it was a lot of validation and yeah, it was a great journey.
That's exciting. I'm also sure stressful and anxiety inducing and all of the things that, as we're sitting here talking about the importance of mental health, I'm curious, Mahak, as a busy entrepreneur, and you shared that you were newly married, so also a partner, how do you balance the demands of being a successful entrepreneur with being a human and taking care of your own mental health?
Something that I've learned over the years is not putting my life on hold for next professional milestone. And I know like we've heard it a lot that it's a marathon, not a sprint, but sort of internalizing that and compartmentalizing my life has been very, very helpful.
So if our audience is listening, how would they learn more about SoulUp, and where would you direct them?
So right now we're only present through a website. It's SoulUp.in.
Great. And for if I can go back a little bit to your journey to entrepreneurship, we know that Bain builds this entrepreneurial culture, as we talked about earlier. And many of the founders that I've met with over the years actually founded alongside another Bainee, or Bainees were sort of instrumental in their launch. And we here at the firm have actually just recently launched a fund called Future Back Ventures, where Bain partners are investing in entrepreneurs, Bain founders. So clearly there's a strong commitment to this entrepreneurial way. Mahak, what would you say to a Bainee who is thinking about taking this leap, but is hesitating, right? Think about another AC or maybe a consultant that has what they think is a great idea, but they're hesitant. Any advice that you would provide to them?
I would say that like some anxiety is bound to be there. But also we live in a world where like no decision is permanent. Like, you'd rather take a leap sooner than later and figure it out for yourself. If this is the life you like, if this is the career you like. And this also, I think one thing that used to weigh heavily on my mind initially was the opportunity cost. And at least something I've realized over the years is that there's no one definition of success anymore. So you don't need to be a CEO or a partner to really be successful. You just have to figure for yourself that what do you truly want, and go for it.
Great. Well, thanks so much for sharing about your journey with SoulUp. We'll transition now to our rapid fire, because I think we love to hear just a little bit more about what makes our alumni tick and gives insight into your personality. Mahak, what is on your nightstand right now, or whatever you're reading on the go on your Kindle or your preferred reading device? What's top of mind for you as you're reading in your reading list right now?
Right now I'm reading Bhagavad Gita. Like, have been wanting to pick up that book for long and finally did it.
That's been long on my list. Haven't read it. I'll let you know when I get there. All-time favorite or current song that you like to listen to?
Current favorite, Bigger Than the Whole Sky.
What is getting you really excited this month, either about SoulUp or something personal?
Yeah. So there's some upcoming travel, excited about that. Also, like this month, we're doing our first B2B partnership at SoulUp with a healthcare institute and a pharma company. So till now, SoulUp has been majorly like all the business has been direct to consumer. This is the first time we're expanding and exploring opportunities on the B2B side. So quite excited about that.
That could open a whole nother vein of this conversation, Mahak, about what the future of your B2B relationships there. And what is the best advice that you have ever received?
Like when we started the set company, health tech wasn't really a market. And people and investors had questions like, are doctors going to adopt? Is it going to be a challenge? But I'm glad we did it, because after that, a lot more health tech has been built in India. And we were the ones who laid the foundation. So when it comes to peer-to-peer, there's a possibility that some other company, some other founder, some other startup creates a bigger company in the space. But what I'm glad about is there's the satisfaction of, okay, we're creating base of something big. It like SoulUp could be big, or something else, or someone else could be big. But this effort or this moving slowly is not going to waste.
I think that's a really profound lesson of you are the insurgent, right? And you're building the base and the foundation of, you may not ultimately be the biggest, but the first, and blazing the path as the first. And there's real value in terms of the social impact that you're having with SoulUp. Well, I'm sure that is great advice from that founder. Well, Mahak, it's been an absolute joy and pleasure to spend this time with you today. I know, and many Baineys will look forward to continuing to watch your journey with SoulUp, and we will be cheering you on and wishing you great success. We'll be sure to get information out on BeyondBain about how there are alumni in India that are interested in learning more about SoulUp, where they can go. We wish you all the very best.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jen.